My name is Massey Campos, and I'm the founder of Self-Evident Ministry. We're an educational outreach that is focused on teaching the biblical heritage of America, our founding fathers, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, and coupling it with the gospel of Jesus Christ, because without the gospel, those documents make zero sense. I'm a first-generation American, as both of my parents are from San Luis Potosí and Nuevo León, Mexico, and now have a small church that they pastor in Mathis, Texas. In 2001, I became a Christian. And shortly thereafter, I became a minister of the gospel. But during this time, I kept hearing, what about separation of church and state? God isn't allowed in the public square. But then in 2004, I met Michael Anthony Perutka because I had been praying for a long time. How do I apply my faith in the civil realm? Michael Perutka taught a course on the Constitution, and it radically changed my life. I began to understand that the Bill of Rights weren't written against me as a preacher, but they were written against the federal government when it becomes tyrannical if left unchecked. If you remember, John F. Kennedy once stated, "Our rights come not from the generosity of the state, but from the hand of God." Why? Because if man gives rights, then he can equally take them away. If man is right, God is not. And we all know from the Bible that that's just not the case. Man is fallible. We are sinful in nature, and we can never be perfect. But through the grace of Jesus Christ, we can change to be perfected in Him. And that is the hope that we wanted to give to people. But we also wanted to give people hope that this country was founded on biblical principles. We need to get back to those principles. And I'm going to start off with a quote from Daniel Webster that said, "Hold on, my friends, to the Constitution and to the Republic for which it stands. Miracles do not cluster in what has happened once in 6,000 years. Notice he didn't say millions. What has happened once in 6,000 years may not happen again. Hold on to the Constitution, for if the American Constitution should fail, there will be anarchy throughout the world." We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. They are endowed by their Creator. There is a God with certain inalienable rights. Our rights come from Him. That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that to secure these rights, the purpose of government is to secure my God-given rights, right? So William Blackstone said this: "The Creator has so intimately connected, so inseparably interwoven the laws of eternal justice with the happiness of each individual, that the latter cannot be attained but by observing the former, and if the former be punctually obeyed, it cannot but induce the latter." Right? We could go back to William Blackstone when he said, "No enactment of man can be considered law unless it conforms to the law of God." So what is he saying? That if it doesn't conform to God's law, is it law? And if it's not law, why are we obeying it? Why are we still aiding it, if you will? Can we think of some laws that have been enacted today that don't conform to God's law? Then they're not law. If you look at the Declaration of Independence, it talked about pretended legislation. This is George Washington. He said, "Of all the dispositions and habits which lead to political prosperity, religion and morality are indispensable supports. In vain would that man claim tribute to patriotism who should labor to subvert these great pillars of human happiness." Is that happening today? Do you know what he basically just said? You can't even be a patriot if you're not ascribing to the laws of God. You can't even call yourself a patriot. This is George Washington, the father of America, who swore an oath on the Bible, who started the tradition, kissed the Bible, and said, "God help me. God help me." 43 state constitutions acknowledge Almighty God for their blessings. The rest of those constitutions, every one of them has a clause, and either it's Article 1, Section 2, Section 3, Section 4. You'll notice it gives you the freedom to worship God in your conscience. The Massachusetts Constitution of 1780 affirms the happiness of a people and the good order and preservation of civil government essentially depend upon the piety, religion, and morality, and these cannot be generally diffused through a community, but by the institution of public worship of God and the public institution in piety, religion, and morality. Can you imagine if the people running for office today understood that? The Northwest Ordinance of 1787 said, it affirms that religion and morality and knowledge are the essential happiness of mankind. Basically, you obey God's law, you're in happiness, right? And if you're in happiness, you're obeying God's law. All things are from Him, through Him, and to Him, right?